Ah, this is the true story. It's actually is happening to people I know personally. It's happening to people in their town. And I think this is a similar story that is happening all over Russia to many, many Russian families. As you know, Russia is under mobilization right now. It was announced on September 21st. 300,000 people, that's officially announced by the Ministry of Defense, must be mobilized and thrown to fight with Ukraine. Now, I have seen it. I've heard my friends. I've seen it from people I know. They were sending me videos of what was recently happening in their hometown. The mobilization center officers, people, came and knocked on doors of many young men. The young men were served the papers, the documents. We call them повестка. And if you actually take it and sign for it, then that's it, you're done. And many people do that. If they're caught, they're forced to sign the повестка, the documents. There were quite a few people, young men, not so young men, males, that were mobilized and, went to serve. And I saw the video footage of how families of those males, men, young, not so young, were seeing them off. Mothers and wives and daughters were crying. Fathers, brothers were wishing good luck, whatever that is. Okay, I don't know what good luck is at this situation. I guess just to come back alive. And everyone was acting as if they couldn't do anything. There was doom. Their fate was exactly that. They were just, equipping their sons, their husbands, with, they were giving them warm clothing. They were giving them basic first aid, necessary things, medicine, stuff like that. They were trying to do the best to send them ready, because there were rumors they wouldn't get anything like what they need at the mobilization centers. But they were really trying hard. But the thing is, in their eyes, there was just sorrow and doom. Looks like, to me, it looks like those people have the gene of submissiveness. Howdy, everyone. Welcome to Inside Russia. My name is Konstantin, and I'm streaming live from Uzbekistan, telling you of things happening in Russia, explaining the events and giving my own takes. And today I'm talking about why Russians are so submissive and why they're so complacent with whatever the government is telling them. It's actually one of the very frequently asked questions in the last 7 months. I've been asked so many times, what does it take for Russians to wake up? What will have to happen so they, start standing up and exercising their rights? What has to happen? And, I went through stages. At first I was thinking, well, Russians are uninformed. If they were informed, things would have been different. they would have acted different. Then, obviously, I mean, if you want to get informed, you get informed. So 3-4 months passed, and then I had a different excuse saying, well, Russians, perhaps they're informed, by they just don't understand what is really going on. Okay, they're just, perhaps they lied to, they're, I don't know, misinterpret the truth, things like that. But if they knew like the truth right there, then they would act. Then I thought, well, once they know the truth about how many people died on both sides, they would get mad. Then I thought, well, once the Russia's finest will be coming back in coffins, then we'll get back. And you know what? Nothing has changed. At this point, nothing is much of a different from beginning of this terrible event. So what is going on? Why does it look like the Russians have this gene of submissiveness? And I'm not talking about biological gene, okay? Russians are same people as anywhere else. That gene, or perhaps it's a virus, I don't know how to call it, virus of submissiveness. I think it's in the heads. Because I know lots of Russians' hearts, and they're very good people with very good hearts. But something is here in their heads that doesn't let them exercise their rights. Well, I've been thinking about that for a long, long time now. Pretty much since this terrible event have started. It's gonna be 8 years in a week. 8 months in a week. God forbid, 8 years, that. I hope not. So what are the reasons that Russians are acting the way they're acting? What are the reasons nothing is getting done? What are the reasons they're so complacent and submissive? Well, I'm not going to give you the facts, numbers, figures. What I'm going to tell you is my thoughts and my opinion. Can I be wrong? Of course I can, but this is what I have come up with, thinking it over and over and over again. There are a few reasons why it appears that the Russians have a gene of submissiveness. The first reason is negative selection. You see, last 200 years, even before that, but I'm not going before in the history. I'm taking 200 years. Russia has had absolute monarchy, the Tsar. One person who was in charge of the entire country. Everything belonged to the Tsar. A Tsar was a ruler, and he had absolute power. He or she, because at one point the Tsarine was, a woman, but mostly men. And this absolute monarchy had absolute power. And it did not need anything to exist. It just needed one thing. It needed two things not to change. Anyone who would stand up, demanding, asking, suggesting for change. Anyone who would start asking questions. Anyone who would start leading people into thinking, was considered a threat. There have been very many examples of that. I can give you 1825. This coup was in Russia we call it this December people, dekabristi. The nobility didn't like how Russia was ruled by absolute monarchy, and it didn't like slavery that existed in Russia. So this nobility, quite a few army officers, they staged a huge protest. They wanted to be heard. They wanted to Tsar to step down and Russian social structure be changed. Okay, they didn't want a bloody revolution. They just wanted to initiate changes for the country, for the better. And they were considered as an incredible threat by the Tsar and his family, and they were prosecuted. Some of them were shot right there on the spot. And then the rest who survived, they were given life sentences. And they were outcast to Siberia. Very famous story in Russia. It's part of Russian history. Then the December people were followed by the Bolsheviks. The Bolsheviks were acting against absolute monarchy and absolute power in the late 19th century and early 20th century, and they actually succeeded. They made a revolution, the Bolshevik Revolution, but nothing really changed because the absolute monarchy reigned, kept on reigning. Joseph Stalin, he was not the Tsar, he was called differently, but the idea was the same, absolute power by one guy. And he was making decisions to his own advantage, the Tsar, okay? Then in 1955, I believe, he either died or he was killed, poisoned. There are many theories about that, but he was gone. And the communists, they decided that not one single person must be given absolute power anymore, because that would become a threat. And instead of just one person, the Politburo was born. And Politburo was a group of few people who actually were making collective decisions. But you could say that Politburo was playing the role of the Tsar. Okay, and Politburo had absolute power over the country and over the people. I dare to say it was sort of a form of a slavery, because people were not allowed to leave, people were not allowed to do business and things like that. So they were dissidents, people who didn't like this social contract. They didn't like this society, and they wanted to change things. And guess what Politburo did? It crushed them. It used all the might of the suppression machine of Soviet Union to crush these people, plain and simple. They were called dissidents. I remember them from the 70s and the 80s. The most famous one was Andrei Sakharov, the father of a bomb, huge bomb. Anyway, he was a physicist. He was speaking up the truth, or at least attempting, and he was simply sent to outcasted to one of the province cities in the USSR, and then he was not let out of there. Okay, and then basically he was just prisoned in that city to work and designing the bombs, pretty much. Some dissidents were ousted from the country. Some were thrown, and of course there were many more who were thrown to jail, prisons, who were given harsh terms. And some fled. They ran away. So the government kept on doing what the czars before were doing. It sent people very clear message. Don't mess up with us. Don't try to change things. We know what's better for you. And if you try to stand up and exercise your rights, don't you even dare, because we're going to crush you, and everyone will see that. And everyone saw that, and people were scared. For the last 200 years in Russia, in the USSR, and now in Russia, people have been scared. Look what is happening in 2022. Look at the laws that were introduced in February. And right now, I can tell you easily, people are scared. Nothing has changed much. So the reason number one why Russians are so complacent is that this is a result of negative selection. There have been generations and generations of the submissiveness selection. People were forced and driven more and more into submissiveness. How many generations? 7, 8, 9, 10, 15? Who knows? But I think that's a very, very serious reason why Russians are acting the way they're acting. Reason number 2. Some Russians, not all, but some, didn't need freedoms. As you know, Russia had slavery until 1865, when then slavery was abolished. Well, in Russia it was called serfdom, крепостное право, but basically it's the same thing as slavery. People were not allowed to leave. They had masters. They were not allowed to marry the people who they fell in love. They could be sold. Families could be broken up. It's slavery. It was slavery. So in 1985, slavery was abolished finally, and that was, by the way, that was one of the results of 1825 attempted coup by the December people. So they did something good for Russia after all. So 1865, no slavery anymore, no serfdom, but that's a fact. Some serfs, some former slaves beg their masters to actually keep them because they're afraid. They're afraid of choices. They're afraid of freedom. They're afraid of responsibility to go and be responsible for their own lives. There are facts, actually, okay? Not all of them, but some of them. You see, the biggest difference between the United States, people from all over Europe were running to America to find freedom. In Russia, people were running away from freedom, at least some of them. And that's the second reason. And the third reason, immigration. Mass immigration from Russia. In the last 100 years, Russia has suffered 6 waves of immigration. Briefly, 1918, 1921, perhaps 22, 23, the first wave, political immigration, people who disagreed with what the Bolsheviks had for the country, they were leaving. Mass exodus. Over 1 million people left, all officers of the Tsar army, all business people, all landowners, most nobility, they left. The second wave was 1944, 1945. People who were imprisoned by the Germans when they were freed, liberated by Americans. Lots of them decided not to go to the USSR, fearing prosecution, but they just left for the USA for new life. And there were quite a few people like that. Third wave was 70s and 80s, Jewish immigration. It's a phenomena that affected lots of Jewish Soviet people. They were allowed to leave to Israel, to go back to their promised land. They're allowed by Soviet government. There was a huge negotiation, discussion, fight with the West. Finally, this category of people was allowed. So lots of Russians, not just Jewish people, but lots of Russians escaped. They would marry Jewish women, Jewish men, just you name it. They would fake their religion, and quite a few of them left. Again, 70s and 80s. 90s. The wave number 4 is 90s. Economic immigration. Russia was going through a real hard time, and a lot of people were leaving. As soon as the USSR was destroyed and opened the gates, so to speak, people started leaving. I don't have the statistics of how many people left in the 90s, but there were quite a few. They were leaving for better life. We call it the sausage immigration. And wave number 5 happened in very recent times. In the last 10 years, people started, Russia going through not so good things, not so good transformations, and they started leaving, searching for better life. That was political immigration. And this wave that is happening right now, and it's the strongest one in 100 years, compared to the very first one at the Civil War. Right now it's political exodus due to disagreement with, it's a very easy word, disagreement. Protesting against what Russia is doing in Ukraine and with Ukraine, and not willingness to go and get mobilized, take guns, and go kill Ukrainians in Ukraine. So you can call this a political immigration as well. Who is an immigrant? Person who leaves the country. I know. Trust me, I know. I'm seeing tons in Tashkent right now. And these people actually are, I would say, the best of Russia. Most energetic, young, healthy, able, skilled, confident, willing to learn, willing to educate themselves, willing to work as hard as needed, understanding that, no one's going to give them good life just like that. They need to work for that. People who leave now, they could contribute to the country's wealth, growth, and simply they're just most valuable assets that Russia has. And they have left. So far, according to Forbes, over 700,000 Russian people, Russian males left. Huge blow to the country. But that's just one of the 6 waves of immigration. It's like someone sinister reads of Russia's best men, wave after wave after wave after wave. Someone doesn't really like Russia out there, So, this is the reason number 3. Immigration. Well, you could say exodus, whatever you like. Russians who are cream of the crop leave Russia at their own will. And that leaves people inside Russia who are not confident, who think that they cannot succeed abroad, who think that no one is waiting for them with arms wide open. And that's true, no one is waiting, but you know what, they think they can't make it. They're not skilled, they're not willing to learn different language, new culture, and so forth. And that's who's left in Russia. So what will it take to Russians to actually stand up and change things? And you see, I'm not talking about a bloody coup or bloody revolution or anything like that. I think that what Russians need is to actually wake up and claim their rights. All of them, if they heard as one saying, hey, wait a second, we don't really like what you, the government, we've given you, the government, the right to make decisions for us, but we're taking this right back because it's us, we are the people. It's not you or the government, okay? So we don't like it. You've got to stop it right away. And if all Russians express that, they start using their rights and responsibilities, then things will change. I'm very against bloody civil war, okay? I don't like that. But I think it doesn't have to go that far. I think there are so much easier ways and faster ways. And what will this take? What kind of events will force Russians to do that? You know, I've heard so many theories in the past. I've heard that, look, Russians, the people are gonna be fed up. Hasn't happened. Oh, the elites, they don't like what's happening to their money abroad, They getting hit by the sanctions. They must get mad and do something. Well, they've been talking about it for the past 8 months and hasn't happened. Nothing has happened in that department. Saying, well, the military is not happy with the leadership or whatever it's been going on, whoever gives orders, nothing's happened. The KGB is not happy. Nothing happened. I think they're just talks. I think everyone, well, not necessarily happy, but everyone is submissive. Everyone is complacent. And what does have to happen? I have pretty bad news for you. I don't think anything will happen to drive the change of this situation from the bottom. I think the changes will come from the top. And they might be different. For example, natural cause of life, or some groups of influence winning the situation and crushing other groups. Okay, the balance of power lost. Okay, someone gains too much power. Events like this, but I've gotten very disappointed in the people on the ground, on the very bottom. After what I saw happening with my friend's town, after I saw how children just giving up their kids, their sons, and they're very sad and they're very loving. Don't get me wrong, they're not monsters. They cry. Men who send their sons, they cry uncontrollably, okay? The mother's just hysterical. I see tragedy in their eyes. I see that. I saw when I was watching the video, everyone was just the worst, probably their worst day of their lives. But there's doom in their eyes. If they send their most valuable thing in life, their children, nothing else will happen so that they change their opinions. I tried to put myself into their shoes, and let me tell you, Michael is 6. If he is 18 now, I would have acted very, very different. I would have taken charge, and don't even get me started. But these people, they just bring their kids and give them up, wishing them good luck, crying, but thinking, hey, it's fate. There's nothing we can do. So the kids is the last resort. If kids don't change things, nothing will. And you know what? In the stream day after tomorrow, I will tell you why I think that Russians are so sad, but they're not doing anything. I've given you the reasons today, but in the stream day after tomorrow, I'm actually going to dig deeper into the minds of regular Russian people. And I'm going to tell you what I think about this. I'm going to tell you what I think, why lots of Russians believe that it was Ukraine who started attack on Russia. Okay, so please come back to the stream day after tomorrow. I hope you will like it. I'm pretty sure you will like it and will find interesting. This has been my message for today. Thank you very much for giving me a chance, coming, spending some time and listening to my message. I hope you found it interesting and valuable. I would like to turn on the comments, please. I really need some positive reinforcement at these trying times. If you could just send me something nice. Think twice before sending a message, and please don't send nasty ones. Listen to the mods. They know they're the best mods on internet, definitely on YouTube. So please use common sense, and I'm looking forward to chatting with you. Turning on the comments now. Let me just adjust a little bit. Looks like it's the wrong stream. I'm turning the comments on. There you go. I will be very glad to answer your questions. Please put them in caps and put inside Russia after @ so I will see a large orange box right before the comment or question. Lorna and mommy number 1, as usual. Thank you so much. Ladies, Bob and Harry, you're the best moderators this world has ever seen. I went and I watched a couple streams of other people, other YouTubers, and actually some people who are usual suspects here in my channel. You know who you are. And some people who come here sometimes can be found on different streams, and some discuss the moderators, and most are actually very glad to have Lorna, Mommy, Bob, and Harry here, and most admire the job that the mod's doing, and I do too. Thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, very appreciate your work. So Lorna and Mommy number 1. Carms, howdy. I don't recall the name. First time, Reese's, peace. Sylvia, Robbie, Frank, Brian, Pamela J, Dirk, Joey, Ferrari Guy, Joni, John, Yodi Racer, Emra Makers, Isabel Ligo, John BBBB, thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Couple super chats. Blackhead, the unofficial member of this mod team. What better message to say other than Jesus loves us? I agree. Thank you. Agnes, howdy, howdy. Thank you for the support and thanks for the message. John Wakamatsu, thank you for coming back. Buy some tea and it's hard to stand up. Oh, I've been trying to stand up in different ways every single day, and it is very hard. And sometimes it's very, very scary, but it's either you do something or you don't. That's plain and simple, you know. And if there's a country of people who don't do anything, then we have what we have. Babs56 inside Russia. Appreciate you, our mods and community. Thank you so much. Support is very appreciated. And you being here and sending messages is so appreciated too. Ian. Thank you, Constantine. Well, thank you, Ian. I'm glad you liked it. Samsa here, support for you. Thank you so much. Airborne Snail, Robert Holland, Mr. E30, Deuce, Tim, R Nobody. Howdy, howdy. Good time, long time no see. Christopher Kirtner, Todd, howdy, howdy. Jeffrey S, live. Calvin has a question. Thank you. Constantine, isn't it more the fallen nature of man that you are speaking of? It's a great mystery according to the Bible that cannot be understood by the human mind. It's better just to trust Jesus, don't you think? Good message and question. I've been trying to answer this question myself, and I've just shared my thoughts. Okay. The fallen nature of man. I disagree. Because in some countries, men are not so fallen. And in other countries, men are more fallen, or less fallen and more fallen. You know, if it was just what you're saying, the fallen nature of man, then all countries would have been the same. Okay, but they're all different. Of course, we're all with sin. That goes without saying. And Jesus was crucified for our sins. He died and he was resurrected. But we're with sin, right? So you could say that we have fallen nature, but I cannot explain this difference, the extent. And that's what really bothers me. And the second question, it's better to trust Jesus, don't you think? I think so. And I said in my message that I think that the change will come from the top, not from the bottom, not from the people on the ground, okay? If they're seeing off their sons with tears on their eyes, not doing anything, just wishing them good luck to come back alive, then I don't believe that the changes will happen on that level. On top, yes. Where's Jesus? He's on top. Brian Crook, thank you so much. 75 England. Hi, Constantine. What a dilemma for Russians. Die for the leader or be prosecuted opposing him. It's not a dilemma. Thanks for the support. In my mind, it's a no-brainer, Have faith, sir. Blackett, thank you so much. Thank you. Guillaume, thank you so very much. Hello from French Canada, Quebec. Do you consider yourself a refugee? Very much so. I do consider myself a refugee, yes, very much so. Thank you. KWNY Upstate, have Russians ever had time to develop a culture of questioning authority with recent laws? Soviet Union czars ruling for 100 years? Not a gene. Well, I said that it's not a biological gene, but it's something here in the head. Conditioning, okay? I think it's a better word. Conditioning rather than a gene. Generation after generation after generation have been conditioned to be what the Russian people have become. Thank you so much for your support. Marvin English, great to see you. Thank you for all you do. One day at a time. Thank you. Darlene sent $7 Canadian. I appreciate the message. There's no words, but this message is very strong by itself. Koshkin Dom, good evening from Norway. Is it cold in Norway already? from Germany. Janice, hello everyone. Midwestern, you're nice. Cheers from my Bolia. Where's my Bolia? Paul Wright, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Looking for the messages with caps and with the orange box. Oh, it's a tough name to say. Singa. Whoa, you got me here. Singameji. Jaji. Singa. Okay, how about that? Much love to you from Colorado. Thank you so much. I was thinking of Colorado today. I was discussing it with my friends. Went to a mountain resort. Went all the way on top of a mountain. 2,300 feet, meters. So that's 7,500 feet tall, high. And I was thinking of Colorado a lot because the area reminded me of Colorado. By the way, I just returned a few hours ago and have tons of footage for 3 videos just for patrons and sponsors. My way of saying thank you so much and giving you something, unique. Okay, something from a very personal side of me. So please, I'm uploading the pictures after the stream, and tomorrow I'm uploading the first out of 3 videos. And I think you're gonna like it. John M., thank you so much. Great stuff on your channel. Thank you. John, appreciate it. Thank you very much. Fern, howdy, howdy. Brian Woods, in the USA, we have a constitution that outlines our rights. What rights do Russian citizens have? In other words, what documents the responsibilities and limitations of the government? Well, obviously it's constitution, but I made a stream about the constitution, Russian constitution. Please go and watch it. I think it's called The Importance of the Constitution. It was quite some time ago, but I don't want to have a different stream on the same topic to repeat myself. Let's put it very simple, in simple words. Russian Constitution and American Constitution are very different. The American Constitution is a beacon of light for the entire world. I haven't seen anything better, okay? Please, other people in other countries, don't get offended, okay? But I really like the United States, the way it's structured, the way it's built. It's built according to my values. I feel really, really, really comfortable there. The values are God, family, freedom, and hard work. Russian Constitution is different. It protects the government. American Constitution protects the people. That's pretty much it. Miss Randy, thank you so much. Inside Russia, the change did come from the top down 30 years ago. The people didn't change. Real change, chance at democracy. What would be different now? One of the very sacred questions for me. You just nailed it. I'm getting very disappointed. I don't think it's not going to be different. Not much, at least, I have decided to do everything possible that is up to me to help my country, okay? And I am doing it. I will be continue doing it. But I don't see at this point what can be different now. We had a great shot at democracy in 1991. It's actually perfect change of, perfect opportunity. And somehow we messed it up. Good question. Very, very painful question. I hope you heard the answer. M. Phillips, thank you so much. Finally figured out how to attach the money. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate the help. 777 Danny EP, thank you so much. Very appreciated, much needed. Wild Wolf Pack, Russia, do you plan to attain citizenship in another country? Please allow me not to answer this question. I saw the question. It's a fair question, but I'm not gonna answer that. I'm taking the 5th. Constitution in Scandinavian countries better than in the US? Perhaps. I'm not an expert on Scandinavian constitutions, and I never lived in the Scandinavian countries. I like them very much. I like Finland. I have many Finnish friends. I know a little bit of Norway, a little bit of Sweden. One of our companies used to be a joint venture with Swedish-Finnish company. And fantastic countries, fantastic people, unique because they're just, despite living in harsh conditions and cold, they're warm inside. Andrei, so I do not argue. Perhaps their constitutions are better. I just don't know. Brian, why has the world allowed this to even start? Makes two of us. I want to know the answer to. Joel, real change always comes from the bottom up. There's a fair part of common sense in this statement. And perhaps we blew it last time because the changes came from the bottom down, from the, from up to down. The changes came from the top, okay? And they didn't come from the bottom. People kind of helped, but they didn't initiate them. Perhaps that's why. I don't know, but I cannot answer this question really. Amir, thank you for your aloe vera fund. Could you please explain? What do you mean aloe vera? Ten by Vo 94. Even with this history, how can people not angrily join protests when their loved ones are sent to perish? What is left for them that do not dare even to defend loved ones? This is the point of my stream. Well, I'll try to explain the way I see what is happening in their minds right now, and that's going to be the stream after tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to do a stream on a very dangerous, very uncomfortable, very scary topic, the nuclear war, nuclear strikes, nuclear, this nuclear conflict, the nukes. Please come to discuss, and well, at least we're gonna be aware, okay? Trust me, it's not gonna be a comfortable topic for me to talk about. I try to avoid even thinking about this as much as I can because it's scary. But I can't be just like an ostrich, put my head in the sand. Two-scooter chick. Inside Russia, you give me things to think about. I'm 67 from the USA, and we were always taught Russia was our enemy. YouTube in general has opened my eyes. One of the reasons that I started this YouTube channel was to show that Russia is not what a lot of people thought of it would be. Since I started the channel, so many things have changed. But the initial desire was to show that Russia is actually different. Russia is unlike what most people think in the West. And I think I've succeeded somewhat. I've showed Russia at a different angle, and I keep on showing it. So I'm really glad to read your message. So I'm glad that I help to open your eyes. That's what it's all about, really. Donnie Campbell, it's easy to figure out why people in Russia believe the government and their mainstream media. We have the exact same in the USA, that people believe anything that the mainstream media says. Okay, Donnie, that's exactly the topic of my stream day after tomorrow. Please come back and watch, and we'll discuss it. Jimmy Lane, I think 1861 emancipation was based on 1853-56 event. How can event be based on the event that would happen in the future? I don't understand. Also, why you have not mentioned arrest and jails, Lithuanians, Poles, etc. under empire, and then Great Purge and gulags. I mentioned it so many times. I mean, it's a common knowledge. I've said in general that it doesn't matter who, the czars, Politburo, it doesn't matter. They always considered people who would stand up and ask for changes threat, and the threat would be dealt with. The dissidents, they were thrown into jail. I said about it, Gulag is Russian jail, okay? Great question. Karen Solberg Carlson, would you rather live in Soviet Union in the 80s or today, October 22? I'm just curious which you might be worse. Well, some question I was not expecting to get. Let me think a minute or two. Let me acknowledge a couple super chats first. Paul Wright, group of Americans, Russians, Ukrainians united in Jesus near Tacoma, Washington, praying for you and your family. Thank you so much. This is so. This message, this knowing is much more valuable than money. Thank you so very much to you, Paul, and if you spread the message and to everyone who's praying. Thank you. I love you. Ginger Hadley, a population socialized to expect hardship probably won't fight back against hardship. Ginger, see the difference? The hardship and their sons. Hardship is okay. Hardship is, well, we get used to. I used to live in, I was growing up. I was growing up in hardship, okay? Hardship doesn't kill you. You just eat less. You wear old clothes, stuff like that. That's just not a big deal, really. But if they take your sons and they perish, that's so much different from hardship. To me, like I said, I would not allow that to happen to my son. Okay, I'd rather die. Okay, that's so different from hardship. Now, back to the question of Karine Solberg. Would you rather live in the USSR in the 80s or today? Very simple question, very straight to the point, and I would say a little bit below the belt. The USSR in the 80s. The USSR. The thing is, in the USSR in the 80s, we had an understanding that changes were coming, and changes to the better. Okay. Late 80s were amazing times when things were changing fast to the better. Okay. More freedom. Mikhail Gorbachev came in, he changed everything. Okay. Now I'm looking at Russia and I get scared. So my question is, I would rather live in the USSR in the 80s, especially late 80s. Neil Thompson, look into studies as such at 1951, 55, and Milgram, Zimbabwe, I don't understand. I'm sorry. Which studies? Well, anyway, I will look into this message. I will, I'll try to understand it after the stream. Love from Portugal. Thank you, Miguel. Thank you so much. If you take their sons, you take their future. Amir, that's pretty simple, very straightforward to me. I don't understand people who give up their sons. Albatross E63S, is that a Mercedes? E63S is a very mighty, powerful, good car. Just imagine a world where people realized government needs them. Not the other way around. If more did what you're doing, they would all crumble. Keep up the good work and being a good example. Look, thank you so very much. Look, $10 is great, okay? But what you just said really gives me motivation, really grows my wings a little bigger, because you just nailed it. That's what I think. I think that if all people in Russia, all taxpayers and voters, would stand up and simply exercise their right to vote, to change government, peacefully, to use lawful procedures, then things would happen so quickly, things would change on a dime, okay? Spot on, what can I say? I am trying real hard to be the good example. I feel I'm on the mission. These streams, daily streams, are part of the mission, but there is more to the mission and the cause than this. Okay, this is a big part, but I keep on showing up. Thank you so much. A. Cohen, some of those who are outside have told that they would return. If they see a change happening, they'll be a part of it. But something should start happening first. Very good question, because I have met so many men in the last 2 weeks. I go extra mile. Well, go to my Instagram. You will see what I do. Okay. Instagram is very simple. It's Main Surfer. And I give hints of events that happen here every single day in Tashkent. And I am the driver of those events. Okay. Part of my mission. Just another part. And let me tell you, I've spoken to quite a few men. Partially, some of them are ready to return. But there are quite a few who have given up on Russia, and they're just looking for a new home. and they're willing to apply all their energy, all their skills, all their, I don't know, goodness, because those people are mostly good, to new homes. And new homes will benefit greatly. So I think that's more than 50%, more than half, who are not going to return to Russia. A lot of people feel like Russia has chewed them and spit them out. I definitely feel that way too. Famous Mainer, howdy howdy. So many are submissive due to the fright that they will get in trouble for not following what they're told to do. It's ingrained in them. Wait a second, my friend. I could understand that. 4. Personal prosecution. For example, if I stand up, they go arrest me, thrown to jail. Okay, I can be frightened of that. They will confiscate my assets. They will take my house, apartments. There have been talks about that, by the way. I understand. I can be frightened of that. But if someone shows up and takes my son, there is not one single thing that would frighten me more than the fact that my son would go and perish. No. You know what? Jail, no big deal. Being left alone without one single dollar, ruble, whatever, no big deal. Exile another country for the rest of my life, in poverty, no big deal. But my son is my son, okay? So if those people are frightened of something and they're giving up their sons, I don't understand that. Condensed, the birth rate was already crashing in Russia. This will take it so much worse. Agreed. Not tragedy, but collapse, catastrophe. That's what's going on. Almost 1 million people just left, males. Assorted interests, Konstantin, excellent analysis. Thank you. Your recent videos show the side of you that I was hoping to see. Thank you. It's good to deliver expectations, meet the expectations. You're a good man. You're doing a very good thing here. Thank you so very much. A+ Russian Oля, howdy. Bob, I just looked at the time, 2:05, so gonna finish up soon. Ferrari guy, spit them out is almost a direct quote from a certain world leader. I don't know who that world leader is, but that's my quote. I came up with it. I was just talking to I didn't go to the mountains by myself. There were a few people, also Russians, also from Moscow. We met from the same place where I live in Moscow. A couple people are from there, so we made friends. And this is my quote. I don't know who said that, but this is what I'm saying. Our country has chewed us up and spit us out. And this is very painful. It's very disappointing. It's very discouraging. But it's not the end of the world. And we actually perhaps are lucky because instead of spitting us out, it could have swallowed us and, we would go out through a different hole. So I guess that makes us lucky ones. Sharon, my Instagram is Main Surfer, plain and simple Main Surfer. The guy who surfed in Maine, Main Surfer. One word. Fuyuma, is there official date for next government election voting in Russia? Just happened in September. The next one in 2 years. Dave's RC Retailing, howdy howdy. Nightbot says time's up. Bob S. Don't mess with Bob S. and Nightbot. Just one. Ms. Randy, thank you. U.S. Constitution has checks and balances. Yeah, I know. Amir, thank you. I like this comment from Team Inio Fortnite. I have 3 sons over my dead body. Would they get one? That's what exactly I'm trying to say. And I don't understand people who don't everything until they drop dead. You know, so they would not get their sons. Menagerie, thank you so much. Are they sending their only child? That's awful. Well, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that there are some people who are sending their only children or their only sons. It's not awful. Is it mental or is it like, but anyway, day after tomorrow, come, I will try to dig deeper into the minds of those people and explain you why it is happening. Again, it's going to be my take. There will be no figures, no facts, no numbers, but just what I think about it. Sharon, thank you so much. Again, thank you, thank you, thank you. How many children do Russian families have? Says Menagerie. Depends. Not too many, Amir, aloe vera is a plant. You split it and the gel inside relieves sunburn. Oh, I see. Yeah, I got sunburn. Not terrible one. It looks better on the camera than in reality, but yeah. I spent pretty much all day under bright sun. 7,500 feet high. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. And my son is my future and legacy. And my son is love of my life. Both sons, actually, and then the girls. And, I would do anything to keep them safe. My first prayer is I'm thanking God for giving us basic stuff like food and roofs over our heads. Okay, that's also for the kids, by the way. And then I ask for keeping our children safe and healthy. Okay, what can be more important than that? DH, can Russians feel comfortable living in Turkey or Uzbekistan? Keep on coming to my streams. I will talk about how comfortable. It's actually a great topic. Let me write it down. Comfortable. The last one, and we'll pray. Bichurus, hope you're well. Wondering if your vision of the world is a constrained, humans are limited, or unconstrained one. Humans can engineer the future. Well, definitely second. Humans can engineer the future because, that's going to be a long answer. The short is unconstrained one. We can engineer our actions by our thoughts, by our beliefs, by our values, and by our actions. Okay? That's what I believe in. Otherwise, it's really a miserable life when you know that you don't construct your future. Amir, thanks, the serial gifter. Thank you so much for the gifts. Darlene, thanks for the super chat. Thank you, appreciate it. No message, but this message is powerful enough. Rachel, many Russians are learning second languages. Many. Fiddler on the Roof, saw that movie, great one. Dr. Zhivago, yeah, saw that. I read the book. Ferrari guy, great question. How comfortable are Uzbek citizens with the influx of Russians? Okay, but they're getting anxious. They're just not. They're getting disturbed. Okay, there's a big problem for the Russians coming in the following months. I foresee it, and this is a topic that is that can be discussed in a separate stream. It's actually I'm gonna be perhaps 3 or 4 days. I will make a stream about living here in Uzbekistan. What do Russians go through? How they're treated? How Uzbeks thinking? What they're thinking about Russians and so forth? Because I'm seeing, I have eyes, I have ears, and I hear things, and I have mind and something inside of my head, like gray matter. So, thank you. My friends, inviting everyone to join me in prayer. Thank you, Darlene. Instagram is my main surfer is my Instagram name. Thank you so much. Zach is doing something on Telegram. Well, I'm also doing something on Telegram. My friends, please join me in prayer, asking, begging you. Thank you so much for joining this stream, and please join in prayer. Let's send some good wishes to some good people. Dear God, thank you so much for giving us this wonderful day, wonderful Sunday. Thank you for giving us roofs over our heads, putting food on our tables, and surrounding us with people that we love and who love us. Please help our children, keep them safe and healthy, and give us wisdom to raise them the way that when they grow up, they will become better people than us, and they will make this world a better place than we have made, and they will never ever engage in wars like we have engaged. Please give them the bright future. Please help Ukraine. Reach out and touch people, their hearts, their eyes, their heads, the way that you know how to touch. So the people who are responsible for making the decision to stop the bloodshed will make that decision. Please, dear God, I am asking and begging you to please do that. Please help everyone in Ukraine who has been affected by this terrible tragedy, and send help that you know what kind of help. Send to everyone who needs it. Send strength, send forgiveness, send love, send recovery, please. Thank you. Answer their prayers of the ones who are praying, and make their wishes come true. Please send angels to Ukraine, to every single person who is there. So, angels, keep people away from harm's way, and not one single drop of blood is shed any longer. Please help my country, Russia. Send your strongest angels with sharpest swords, led by Saint Michael, to get rid of all the demons that have hijacked my country, and make it run by the angels, make it shine again. I'm asking for all people who are traveling and all people who are fleeing their countries, fearing for their lives. Please send help their way. Reach out and touch the, every single woman who is pregnant making a decision whether to keep baby or not. Reach out and talk to them so every single woman makes the right decision. Thank you so much for bringing us into this community. Thank you for allowing us to pray. Please answer prayer of every single person who is praying right now or just watching us pray. Make everyone's wish come true. I would like to mention a few people. They need your help. They are Rafaela, Anna, Priscilla, Michelin, Martin, King Nero, Gaby Hyman, Joanne, Donald, Allison, Dave Moyers, Liz, Deborah, Janice Burgess, Maureen M. and her sister, Ariana, Terry Scrugg, Bruce, Kayleen, Michael, Thomas, Tony, Golden Griffon, Sandy Workman and her husband Rod, Mr. Hanson, Heidi Howitz, Terry Carter, Carol Reed, Robert Morgan's sister, Jacob, Umil and Jennifer, Ian, Andrea, Ashley and family, Angelic at Life, Florian G, Cosmision, Matt from Canada, needs help with a job interview, new job, Yelena, Natasha, Jake, Michael, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Bonnie, Galina, Igor, Buzz, Jean-Paul, Michael Milkevitz, Marlene, Fiona, Susan S., Alan, Freddie, Sabrina, Paul Binns, Preacher's father, Rudy Kaisley's family, Richard, Robert Morgan's sister, Mallory M., Dirk Misler and his father, James Rhodes, Reese Gray, Leanne Hankins, Bridget Apley, Hannah and her children, Ace, Common Sense, Scan Family's grandson, Grace, Barb, SC2216, and her daughter, or his daughter, I'm not sure that person's daughter, Lori. They need help in finding jobs and understanding the meaning of their lives. I know you can answer. You know, I've been there and I've done that, and you answered. I asked myself these questions and you answered me, so please answer them. They need your help. I would like to specifically pray for 3 children. They are Sebastian, Maverick, and Coulter. Please send your mercy, your love, your forgiveness, and perform your miracle. These kids need to be healthy, return to their families, live very long and healthy lives. Please help with that. Thank you, dear Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. My friends, thank you very much for coming. You're absolutely awesome. You're the best. You rock. There'll be another message at usual time. This message is going to be very disturbing, but please come back. We need to face this thing, this issue, talk about it at least, and see where it will take us. Thank you so much again. Cartago delende test.